We are here because we are dedicated to helping the entire CrossFit community. Determined to elevate coaches, box owners, athletes, and everything in between, we believe that this mission will begin right here, right now. While this time and this goal begins with you, our hope is that you take this fire ignited within you and weave it into your own life with the same unrelenting passion to give those you have the privilege of coming in contact with the best hour of their day.
All right, we're back with David Newman. I was looking up earlier, David. It was almost exactly a year ago today, and things have changed.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? A lot.
I believe our last podcast went on February 11th of 2020, which was, days before the lockdown. So, For one, welcome and thank you for coming back on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Excited. We're all still here.
We are all still here. We're all doing our double unders. And before we get too deep into this, you were telling me about the challenge. And usually on podcasts, they save hey, tell me what's going on till the end. But on best hour of their day, to make sure it's not only best hour of the day for the listeners, but also for the guests, I want to hear about what's going on. You were just telling me about the 10-a-day challenge, and I can tell you our listeners have some of the worst double unders in all of CrossFit. It's well known. It's a well-known fact. Our listeners are terrible at double unders. So tell me about the 10-a-day challenge, what it benefits, and how they can join. And this is probably going to go out around the 10th or so. So we're a little bit into February.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, this must be serendipitous because we feel we're the best around at helping people get better at their double unders. That's really what we've been doing for over a decade now. So, yeah, the 10-a-day challenge is just a real fun self-improvement 30-day challenge that we put together. It technically started off on February 1st and is going to run through March 2nd. So we get a full 30 days. People can, jump in, no pun intended, but yes intended, anytime throughout the month and get involved. We really tried to scale this up, in an intelligent fashion because, I've been around CrossFit almost as long as you. And prior to that, being around gymnastics, it's always been about quality movement, and not just hammering out the reps. And when we got so deep into the jump rope and double under world, we realized that a lot of people are just trying to hammer out reps and they think they're going to get better by just hammering out reps. And we just don't believe in that philosophy or approach. And it's about being mindful of what you're trying to accomplish each time you pick up your jump rope and not just trying to do a double under for completion, but really think about your technique, your posture, form, mechanics, spacing, tempo. There's so many facets that you can really try and hone in on to improve your skill. So the 10-a-day challenge, the way it works is on February 1st, day one, everybody was asked to just complete 10 perfect double unders. Didn't have to be consecutive. They could be broken up. It could be single, double, single, double. However you need to get through it. If you're not on the double unders yet, then we definitely want you to focus on your single unders and be mindful of your technique for your single unders so that it prepares you for your doubles. That way, during this month, hopefully we get you doing those doubles before the end of the month. And if you're already pretty proficient and you're trying to challenge yourself, go with heavy double unders or drag rope double unders or triple unders, something that's going to be a little more spicy. So whatever the skill and wherever you're at, we're just saying right now, let's just talk about double unders. You do 10 perfect ones, videotape them. We created a private Facebook group that people, once they register and pay $20, 100% of that goes to the Kiala Foundation, which is a nonprofit in Kauai that we strongly support. Love what they're doing for the youth. And so once they register, you get access to our private Facebook group. Now, in that private Facebook group, we posted a ton of videos through the month of January, trying to get people just some information, some knowledge, and some coaching cues for their jump rope technique. And then now into February, people are actually posting their sets, right? So they'll do their 10 double unders and then post them. And then we're going in and we're critiquing and trying to, as many as we can get to, we're coaching them through the comments. And so on day 2, you do 2 sets of 10. Day 3, 3 sets of 10. So it's always sets of 10 with intentional breaks. So if you can do consecutive double unders or whatever it is, we still ask that you break, reset, and then start the next set of 10. And we just found that that's the best way for people to kind of strip away the pressure of like, oh, I've got to do 50 unbroken or 100 unbroken. And like, no, I'm going to do 10 mindful double unders trying to improve, whatever it is they have issues with. Everybody has something different. So it could be the height of their bound, their body posture, their arm positioning, their rope speed. There's all these different factors that we can look into to try and help them get better. So you can sign up anytime throughout the month. If you sign up, on the 10th or the 11th, you can just start on that day. You don't have to back up all the way to the first and reset. So we want people to come in whenever they want. We're very careful that people aren't doing too many reps because we don't want overuse injuries. We don't need shin splints and torn calves and plantar fasciitis and things like that. So if you're pretty fit and healthy and you've been jumping a lot and you want to go back to day 1 and you want to catch up, then so be it. It's up to you, but not required. So we've been having a lot of fun. So then every Wednesday and Friday, we're trying to stick to this, hoping it works out with our guests. But every Wednesday and Friday, we're doing a live and trying to bring special guests on. So today was our first live we did for the private Facebook group, and we had Neil Maddox come on with us. Neil's a good old buddy from a long time ago, and brought Neil in to do a live and see what's going on in his life with his gym and his family and everything, and talk about double unders and some of his top techniques and things like that. So it was a real fun little interview. And so that's still sitting there in the live group that people can go back and watch once they sign up.
I love it. I love the idea of doing 10 because like you said, if you think about I have to go to 50 or 100, all of a sudden your form starts to go. But 10 is very mindful, and I like it. It's the idea of practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. And if you're listening and you don't have double unders, it's, in my opinion, simply because you've not spent the time. I always tell people, can you jump up and down? Cool. Can you do that and flick your wrists? You could do double unders. It's just the balance, accuracy, agility, and coordination components of the 10 domains of fitness. Most people can do double unders, but then class comes and they get nervous before the workout, so they scale back to singles, or for whatever reason, they just don't make that jump. And 10 a day, no easier way to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And a great, a great charity as well. Usually it's the Hawaiian Trail Run, right? That promotes, and I know they've done some virtual things, but, I think many charities are taking a hit in this time because, 5Ks and other things are getting canceled and postponed. So a great way to still give back to the community. It's $20. It's one of those things I think too, where you give $20 and it's going to be that accountability you need to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. And we partnered with Stream Fitness for this challenge. This is our first annual one, and we're going to do this every single year. And so we're just trying to feel things out and see what works. And so we partnered with Stream Fitness, a neat little platform that Scott Panchik and Jacob Hepner and Fee Sagafi have kind of bought into and partnered with. Basically that it's not an app, but it's a web platform that you can sign up, register, cost nothing to sign up. It's kind of one of those competition forums, online competition forums, but we're under their challenges. I mean, you would still go to the competitions, select competitions, and it'll pull up the 10-a-day challenge, register for that. And basically you can videotape yourself through that app on your phone or your iPad or whatever. And I kind of call it like a Fitbit in a sense, because, we know how many reps we're doing. We're either doing 10 or 20 or 30 or whatever day we're on. So, you videotape yourself, you hit end, you put your number of reps in, and then it'll basically, save your video and archive it. And within a couple hours after it's all rendered, you can see everybody that's recording their double unders. They're all on the same screen in these little tiles, and you could watch everybody jump, and you can kind of compare your technique against other people, look at your silhouette and compare it to somebody else's silhouette, and form and posture and things like that. So that's a neat little wrinkle that we're partnering with for this. So and then so people are doing it there, or they're just recording themselves and just posting it to the private group as well. And so we're getting a lot of different avenues to try and get people some help.
Yeah, Jacob Hepner was on the show a couple months ago, and I had judged him for the games, and I know he's a part of that app. And actually, I just got an email, I think it was yesterday or the day before, from GoWad. They've teamed up with Stream Fitness as well. So really cool to see so many people, just all the synergy that goes on in the CrossFit world. Speaking of Jacob Hepner, when I was out there judging him, they had to use a heavy rope. And I have one, and it's very challenging to do double unders with that heavy rope. But he went unbroken on 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. And it was one of the most impressive things I saw, because I just, knowing how challenging that heavy rope is. Do you find that people get that heavy rope in order to improve their current double unders, or in order to get their first double under?
So, well, the answer is yes to both of those in a little bit, right? But are you saying you judged him during stage 1 of the games?
Correct.
Okay, so for that, they actually used our drag rope.
Right. So, okay, there was right. So there's a difference between the heavy rope and the drag rope.
There is. So you're 100% correct. The drag rope is heavier than your typical, way heavier than a typical speed rope.
The heavy rope is the one with the thicker handles and the thicker wire, right?
Correct. For ours, exactly. Like, we have a whole line of heavy jump ropes that use our traditional handles, our RX handles, but there's cables that range from a 1/4 pound up to 1 pound, and it's a heavy coated wire. So that's our heavy lineup of ropes. And then what the games athletes got to use during that Awful Annie was our drag rope. And we created the drag rope basically as an answer to our speed rope, our Evo speed rope. And I don't remember if we talked about this last time, but after we came up with the Evo speed rope, which to me arguably is the fastest, the most precision speed rope on the market. And we made it to be that, right? We put a lot of energy and finances towards making that. And then after we jumped with it, I just thought, this kind of makes everything too easy. Like, that's such a beautiful piece of equipment, but it really takes away a lot of resistance, and you just feel like you're jumping, and air is passing around you. So, me being very old school, I said, well, we gotta balance this out. Let's make something that's going to really make people work hard. So we went back to a very old school approach of, okay, here's a piece of woven rope. And we tested a lot of different, it looks like a kind of a quality climbing rope, but it's actually not the highest quality climbing rope, because high quality climbing ropes are very dense and taut, and they don't have a lot of give or stretch. And they're actually pretty easy to jump with. Once you get them going, you can figure it out. So we tested a bunch of different variations until we found what we use now is it's a little bit fluffier. It catches more air, and it has a little bit of stretch and give. So when you give it input from your wrist, it doesn't respond the way a speed rope does. There's a little lag to it, right? So that's why it's called the drag rope, because it really drags, and you have to just, really work exponentially harder to get it moving around your body for a double under. And yes, it is heavier than a speed rope. I mean, I think it weighs, the average one weighs somewhere in the 6 to 8 ounce range, whereas, a speed rope cable weighs 1 ounce, So, but
and there's no bearings on it.
Exactly. That's the point. There's no bearings. Purposely, the rope goes right into the handle and just clamps off. And so it's very old school, but I tell you what, that's become one of our most popular jump ropes. People are so challenged by it, and they love the fitness they get out of it, because they've gotten so good at double unders. Like I said earlier, that it's like, oh, just hop and get out of the way, and the rope gets around your body twice with a speed rope. there's not a whole lot that you need to put into it. But with the drag rope, you do 20, 30, double unders, you are huffing and puffing, and you feel the blood pumping into your arms because you got to work so much harder to get it around you. So
I wish I could speak on that, but I couldn't get a double under. So I'll let you know. I did singles, and I was certainly out of breath, and I liked it for that reason. It reminded me of like back in the day for my cardio. I would go in the little aerobics room at the Gold's Gym I was working at and just jump rope with a similar rope, like the Everlast one you would buy at like Dick's with the wooden handle, but never knowing what a double under was.
Exactly.
So I got to practice that, but here's my excuse. I'm doing it in the garage. I got low ceilings. I got equipment everywhere.
That's a good reason, but I'll give you 2 tips. So there's technique to everything. Heavy ropes, the drag rope. So with the drag rope, my 3 top tips are: A, you want to go as short as possible, right? Because the shorter
I got the small. Do you make it extra small?
Well, you can just tie a knot in it. Tie a knot close to the handles. I use the small as well, and anything longer, and you can feel the difference. There's just so much more material with a bigger, radius they have to get around, right? So, so use the shortest possible. Tie a knot in under one of the handles if you need to make it even shorter. Bound higher, so you give the rope more time, right? That alleviates having to spin the rope extra hard because you have more time in the air. And then just always try and keep tension on the rope. You only need enough tension to keep it moving. You don't have to over race it. And so just always keep it under tension. Don't let it ever get slacky. So your hands just have to move a little quicker and keep that tight circle, tight wrist circle going. But once you figure that out, I mean, it's like anything. You can adapt to it. That's what's so amazing is watching people adapt to it. And, we released that rope. When was it? Oh, John Swanson wanted to put them in the Granite Games, I think 3 years ago. And he actually wanted to put in a heavy rope. And I offered these. I said, hey, why don't you try these? Because I knew we'd already put heavy ropes in the games. And so people were, kind of getting used to that. But nobody really spent much time with the drag rope. So we put the drag rope in the Granite Games for the elite division and the masters division. And it was a hoot to watch these high level athletes just suck butter, man. They were just dumbfounded. And the way John did it was beautiful because we took all 3 sizes, and there's just a small, medium, and a large, which equates to 8 foot, 8, 6, 9 foot. We feel that 99% of the population can jump with any of those sizes. Really can if you adapt and know how to do it. So
what's the tallest person that you've had to make a rope for?
I mean, we make ropes for the LA Lakers, so we can make them up to 11 feet long.
7-footer?
Yeah, if we need. Yeah, we've done some around 11-footer, but realistically, that's more rope than people need. Honestly.
Am I the smallest person to use one of your ropes?
No, not even close. Get out of here. probably the best looking. You're probably the best looking person.
It goes without saying. That goes without saying. But what I wanted to tell you is, after our last call, you were nice enough. You sent me a couple ropes. And I kind of sat packed away. Part of it was, gyms were closed down. I was being kind of lazy, doing more Peloton. And then we moved here to, where we are in Colorado, and I'm going to the box again. And, I had my old rope, and I think you get really comfortable with your jump rope. I always tell people at boxes, like, hey, we've got all the equipment you're going to need, but if you're going to buy one thing, get yourself a jump rope. It's one you need your own. So, I had my comfortable rope. I won't mention brands. And, I've been using it for years. And my wife was like, every time we would do a double under workout, I'm smashed, I'm tired. I could do double unders. I've done 100 in a row, but I'm not efficient at it. And so finally I'm like, she's like, you got all of these great ropes. Like the guy sent you. I drag, you sent me like one of each. I'm like, all right, I'm going to bring in this Evo rope. Let's see what it's all about. And man, what a world of difference. What a world of difference. Like it took me I would say it took me a workout because the timing's a little different. But once you get used to that timing, that Evo rope, it's lighter. My shoulders are always what goes on double unders. my shoulders would blow up. So that stopped happening, and the rope is just faster. I would say it's like it's like listening to a book at like 1.25 speed. Like, that's how I would equate it. It's just enough faster. Like, I can still understand everything you're saying. I still hear you, but it's more efficient. So that's what I would say about that rope. If you're listening, check that rope out because it's worth it. By the way, how do I get my hands on one of the West Coast Classic ropes? You guys sold out of those?
Oh man, I think we did.
That blue is just beautiful. I love that. It's like my favorite color, blue.
Okay, well I'll dig around and see if we got any laying around, but I think
Extra
we did
small.
we did sell out of those. Yeah, that's a beautiful color, and we were bummed that they had to postpone that event. But yeah, that was kind of our special release for that event. But well, thank you. I appreciate. I mean, that's an awesome endorsement and organic story about that. I love that. I love that they just sat in your house.
They were sitting we moved homes, they were sitting in the box, it's in that nice little box that it comes in, and it just sat there. And I'm like, it was just not being, so if someone's listening and they're like, man, I'm getting good at double unders. What's the next step? What's the next, evolution? No pun intended. It's, you got to suck it up for a workout. One workout is all it takes, or some practice. Like the tens is a perfect opportunity to do it. But for me, it wasn't even one workout. It was like halfway through the workout when I got my timing, I'm like, in my mind, I was like, what an idiot. Why didn't I do this sooner?
Well, it's funny when we released that rope back in 2017. We obviously sent it out to all of our sponsored athletes that we were partnered with at the time, and we sent it to them first. They got special colors that nobody else got, and it was engraved, with RX athlete, all that kind of stuff, and so then the regionals that was like the last year. I think there were still regionals, and so at the regionals, there were a handful of athletes that didn't use them during the double under workout. And we'd always watch to see, when our athletes were coming up, and we were surprised to see some of our athletes were still using the old rope. Even like Cara Webb in Australia during the games, she used her original RX rope, with the little bit bigger diameter handles. And we were really surprised. And so when we asked them later on, after the comp, we said, why didn't you use the new rope we sent you? They said, it's too fast. Like I couldn't get used to it in time. Like I was much more comfortable with the pacing and speed, and it just took them a little time to get used to it. And that's, that, which is an awesome endorsement, but it's like, you just got to slow down, slow the rope down and make it go the speed you need it to go. It is super fast, but you can slow it down,
Be one with the rope.
There you go. Absolutely.
But that's why you need your own. Like if you're listening and you're one of the people that show up at the box and grab one off the rack, like, was this the right? It's truly, maybe a pair of sneakers and a jump rope. That's all you need, and then you go to the box. So definitely check that out, because I was hesitant. I had my janky old rope for years, and I was just I want to break that habit. But once I did, like I said, I don't know what I was waiting for.
Well, the reason warn your audience that it is expensive. It's an investment. These are the Evos, and I'm not bashful about saying the Evo is the most expensive speed rope on the market. But
so it's $150 online, right?
That's the G2, our newest one, is $150, and then we have them down to $125. But anybody that's ever scoffed at the price, which has happened a lot, especially when we'd see them face to face, like at the games or regionals or somewhere in person, and they would scoff at the price. After they tried it, they would always walk up to the cash register and buy it, because they realize, what the investment gives you. It is a very solid tool.
And then first of all, it's good. It's a one-time purchase, and I'm a big minimalist guy. I don't think you shouldn't have anything. I just think the things you have should serve a really strong purpose. They should make you happy, right? And you'll never need another jump rope in your life. The difference between the G's is the length of the handle, correct?
So, well, yes, kind of. Our G1 is just really kind of our cheap way of calling it Generation One, and that was our first Evo, which is your kind of your typical 6-inch handle. The Evo Go is our smaller version Evo handle, so we made that one about a little over 5 inches, like 5.25-inch diameter for people that just like a smaller, lighter handle in their hand. And so that's the Evo Go. And then the G2 is our Generation 2, which is an upgrade from the G1 because we changed the contouring of the handle and made the pinch points a little bit more pronounced so that, the idea is that you have, much more secure grip without applying more tension, because we're always trying to eliminate tension out of the equation. So the G2 has better contouring and we added knurling. And people really love that knurling feel. So, so the G1, the Go, and the G2.
Yeah, I think, it's really, again, just to reiterate, yes, it's a little more expensive, but it's well worth it. One of the reasons I reached out to you to come back on the show is I saw your write-up on the Morning Chalk Up, and I don't think on the last episode we really touched upon everything, but it's great all of this knowledge you have for the jump rope and how you're changing the world of double unders. But I think your story is also inspiring. And, I love talking about entrepreneurship, whether it comes to being a box owner or it comes to, starting your business. I had no idea that you were, down and out when you began this company.
Yeah. It was a very raw, organic beginning for us, for sure. We just come out of bankruptcy from my career in real estate and the big crash in the market, and kind of starting all over. So definitely started, very humble beginnings out of the garage and just enjoying it. You know what I mean? Really doing it more out of love and passion, and not with the intention of, hey, this is my new career, or hey, I'm going to sell these. So I think being naive back then was probably the best thing. It just took off so much pressure. I really just had no pressure because there was nothing to gain or lose. It was just a project. I'm going to see if I can make a jump rope that'll help me get better. And that's all I cared about. There was no other outside influence about how it should look or how it should, feel. Nothing. It was just, will it make me better? And so I think with that purity in approach, I came up with luckily just a viable training tool that caught on. So there were definitely some real great learning lessons coming from that situation, and then kind of moving forward into when this actually became a business. I just can't be more grateful for for what's happened. The path in life has been a good one.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned as the company grew? Not at the beginning, there's so many lessons starting a small business, but now that you're growing, you have money coming in regularly, you have employees, no different than box owners that are growing. They have more members, potentially want to expand, open a second affiliate. What are the biggest lessons you've learned and advice that you would give to affiliate owners?
Well, you know what? I'll give you two. I'll give you two of my biggest ones that I can lean on, even today. So when we started, honestly, I had no clue. The market thrust me into the marketplace. I didn't ask to come in. I didn't walk around knocking door to door saying, "Do you want to buy a jump rope? Do you want to buy a jump rope?" It was so organic. I would just people would try my rope at the gym. They would love it. They would get a PR immediately and then say, "Make me one." And I would make them a free jump rope. I gave away so many free jump ropes, that I can't even count until when we were still broke. My wife would look at our bank statements and go, why are you spending all this money at the hardware store and sporting goods store, buying all the parts? So, back then I had no idea what we were getting into, and the market grew pretty feverishly. It grew fast. So, we got to a point where we had to scale up just so we could, provide the orders, get the orders filled. And so our house was our factory for 2.5 years. We literally ripped carpet off the floor and worked on concrete and set up workstations. The garage was the main assembly area, and the dining room table was where we, fulfilled shipping orders and things like that. So at the time, we were just filling bodies wherever we could get them. You know what I mean? We didn't have time to be picky. I had to be somewhat picky about who I brought into my home because, that's our safe haven, right? I had 2 children and my wife. So we had to be, we always hired family and friends or friends of friends of friends and people we knew. But, the point being was that we had to fill a body to help fill an order. And then when we were able to scale up enough and kind of slow down, that was when we were able to kind of step back and see that, wow, we had a lot of people that were really nice people, but they really weren't cut out for the job. They weren't good at what they were doing, or they didn't enjoy it, or whatever it might be. It just wasn't a good fit. And so, I pride myself on almost everybody that we've ever have passed through our doors as a staff member or team member and has moved on to other things, whether as we asked them to move on or they willingly moved on to greener pastures. We've always kept a good relationship with those people, just because I like to think that we take our time to hire good people first and hope make it a good fit. And if it ends up not being a good fit, that doesn't mean we can't be friends. It doesn't mean that we can't still care about each other and help each other. And I'll start every one of those little discussions when I set somebody down in my desk and just say, hey, so what's going on with you? You don't seem like you're enjoying yourself, or you don't feel like you're doing your job to the best of your ability. What's going on with you? There's something probably going on your side of things, where it's easy for an owner to go, I don't like the way you're working. You're not doing it to my standards and blah, 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 and kind of give them the riot act. And usually you find out that, that person just wasn't fulfilled. They weren't enjoying it. They want something different. And that's great. I have no problem with that. So, hiring people that really fit your team, if they fit, they love what they're doing. They enjoy being there. They buy into your message and your direction. Just getting the right people on your team. And I'm so fortunate now. I feel like we have just such an amazing team of people. And I have some employees that have been with us, 10 years now. I mean, we're still a small company, but some of these people have been with me from when we were in my house and have been with me all the way, to current. So that's a big one. I think getting the right people on your team that can help, carry your message forward. The other thing, hopefully this applies in some manner, but being a company that manufactures a product and sends it out, I'm a stickler, man. I want things to be perfect, probably to a fault. And I've realized that, you're just not going to always get it perfect. We used to just take so long to get a new product out to the public, just trying to get everything dialed in and make sure that, okay, this product is just ready to go. It's just bulletproof. We'll send it out and, let it go live. And tell you what, our public never ceases to amaze us that they'll find a way to break our product. They'll find a way to jack it up somehow, or, find out what its weakness is. And then we'll take that into consideration. We'll look at how often that happens and assess whether, okay, do we need to go back in and do a redesign? And we've done that. There are times, actually now, I'm going through a redesign now where my failure rate on a product is so minuscule that most companies wouldn't even bother. It's like, if a customer has that experience, just send them a new one, and keep them happy, which we do. We will send them a new one and keep them happy, but I don't like the failure. So, we spend a lot of money just redesigning to try and minimize any failure rate possible. And so the second message being, something's not always going to be perfect when you release it to the world. So whether it's how you coaches are always developing and honing their skills, right? And they're always going to get better, right? You think about what kind of a coach you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago compared to now, and you're eons better, I'm sure. and you're not even the best you can be. You're still getting better, right? So same thing with our products and
some
services.
would argue I am the best I could be, but yeah, you're close to it, David. But I love both of those pieces of advice. Where, for one, if you're a box owner listening, oftentimes like, man, I just really need someone at 5 a.m. This person will do. No, because you're going to have problems with them. You're going to have problems with them. The members are going to realize that it's going to ultimately cause more of a headache than just getting up at 4:30 until you find the right person. And you kind of piggyback on there with that piece on communication. Communicate with them. And I love the way, it's kind of non-violent communication. You're not pointing fingers. You're taking responsibility and you're saying, hey, what's going on? And sometimes people just need to hear that, hey, what's like, to know that you care about them. And I love the second main piece of, I like the motto of done is better than perfect. And too many entrepreneurs, but even box owners, it's like, it's got to be dialed in. It's got to be perfect. It's like, you're going to find what goes wrong with it. Even if you spend days, weeks, months fine tuning it, something will happen. So get it out there. It's like, when I wrote a book, you can edit that thing forever. I can go back. I mean, you see Star Wars, right? George Lucas is editing for something 50 years later. And that's considered probably a masterpiece. So the point is, you're always going to have more to work on. I love that. Solid pieces of advice. Before we hop off, can you remind people where they can get the information about the 10 a day?
Yeah, you can go to our Instagram is RX Smart Gear, and the link in our bio will get you to the registration page. And once you register, you'll get an email. The email will have the links to go sign up for the private Facebook group for the 10-a-day challenge, and we'll also get you, I believe, directed to the Stream Fitness to get registered there if you wanted to, post your videos and put them on there. And that would be the easiest way to get involved. And we appreciate it. We appreciate anybody. And, even if you don't want to do the challenge, you can still go on and just donate. It's a tax deductible donation because it goes straight to them. We're not collecting the money. It goes right to the Keala Foundation. And so, we're super, super stoked to get people involved. And we've had a great turnout. It's our first year. We had very low expectations. We just want to, work out the bugs and have fun and hopefully help people get better. And we're getting some great feedback. People are really loving just getting some good attention to this skill that they've been struggling with, so.
I love it. And we'll definitely put it in the show notes. Our girl, Katie, will do that. And then as well as rxsmartgear.com, check it out. Like David said, it's not cheap, but it's going to last forever. It's going to work. And it's going to be the only rope you'll probably, if you, what's the term? Amortize it over the course of your CrossFit career. It's like a penny a double under, if that.
Yeah,
if that.
There you go.
Depending on how many double unders.
You'll replace the cable eventually. Like cables, those are under friction. So those will always wear out. But the rope itself, we can rebuild it and make it fresh as new if down the road you need something freshened up. But you're right. It's the same price for the most part as a pair of good CrossFit shoes, and
which you replace once or twice a year.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love it. Well, as always, David, I truly appreciate your time. I love that you're doing this for a great cause, and I love that you're constantly thriving to make this company that you started 10 years ago even better. And I love the fact that it's making my double unders better. So thank you so much for joining.
No, I appreciate it, Jason. Thanks for having me, man. It's always good catching up with you.
So you never miss an episode of the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel and on all major podcasting platforms at Best Hour of Their Day. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being a part of the best hour of our day. See you next time.